October 29, 2025, a date that could mark a significant turning point in the history of global aviation. In Brussels and across Europe's aerospace capitals, alarm bells are ringing. The news has sent shockwaves through the industry, causing immediate concern among policymakers and industry leaders alike. Russia is reportedly in advanced talks to provide China with critical jet engine technology for the C919 airliner, a move that could upend global aviation. This collaboration could potentially alter the balance of power in the skies, giving China a significant edge. For decades, Western firms dominated the high-tech core of aircraft. Companies like Airbus and Boeing have been the undisputed leaders. Now, two strategic rivals are poised to challenge that monopoly, threatening Airbus's future and potentially reshaping the industry. The prospect of Russian engineering merging with China's industrial might is a nightmare scenario for the EU. Such a partnership could undermine the technological and economic foundations of Europe's aerospace sector. This isn't just about market share, it's about survival. European leaders are scrambling to respond before a new Iron Curtain falls over the skies. The urgency is palpable as they seek to protect their interests and maintain their competitive edge. The stakes are incredibly high. Europe's technological autonomy and its place in the global order are at risk. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will be crucial. The world's aviation landscape may be on the verge of a seismic shift. The implications of this new axis in the skies will be felt far and wide, potentially redefining the future of global air travel. The crisis began earlier in 2025 when a sudden escalation in global tensions sent shockwaves through the world's political and economic systems. Headlines blared about a new standoff between the United States and China, with analysts warning of far-reaching consequences for international trade and technology. In a move that stunned both allies and rivals, the U.S. abruptly suspended all exports of critical aerospace technology to China. Cargo shipments were halted at ports, and American officials cited national security concerns, leaving Chinese manufacturers scrambling for answers. The impact was immediate and severe. The production of China's flagship passenger jet, the C919, ground to a halt overnight. Factories fell silent, and workers were left idle, as the absence of the CFM LEAP-1C engine, an essential component sourced from the West, exposed China's deep reliance on foreign innovation. After 6 tense weeks of uncertainty, mounting pressure from global industry leaders and fears of economic fallout, the U.S. government reversed its decision. The export ban was lifted, but the damage to trust and stability had already been done. In Beijing, the episode sent shockwaves through the highest levels of government and business. The sense of vulnerability was palpable. Beijing's trust in Western suppliers was shattered, and the realization dawned that dependence on foreign technology was a strategic risk. China's leadership concluded that technological self-sufficiency was no longer just an economic goal. It had become a matter of national security, vital for the country's future independence and resilience. The brief but dramatic ban hardened Beijing's resolve. Determined to break free from Western control, China accelerated its efforts to develop homegrown technology and sought out new partners who could help fill the gap. The seeds of a new alignment were sown. China's gaze turned to Moscow, where Russian aerospace expertise and a shared interest in challenging Western dominance offered the promise of a powerful partnership. As news of this budding alliance spread, anxiety rippled through Europe's aerospace industry. Companies like Airbus faced the prospect of losing their competitive edge, and headlines warned of a seismic shift in the global aviation landscape. The stage was set for a new era. The West's grip on aviation was no longer assured, and the world watched as the balance of power began to shift. The COMAC C919 is China's bold challenge to the global duopoly of Airbus and Boeing, a symbol of the nation's ambition to become a major player in the world of commercial aviation. With its sleek design and advanced features, the C919 is meant to showcase China's technological progress and manufacturing prowess, aiming to break the West's decades-long grip on the skies. Yet, beneath its impressive exterior, the C919 hides a critical vulnerability that threatens to undermine its promise. Its most vital systems, especially its engines, avionics, and flight control technologies, are still heavily sourced from Western suppliers, making the jet deeply dependent on foreign technology. The C919's reliance on the LEAP-1C engine, a product of a joint venture between GE and Safran, is its Achilles heel. This dependence leaves the entire program exposed to the shifting winds of international politics and trade restrictions. China's homegrown alternative, the CJ1000A engine, was supposed to free the C919 from this reliance, but the project has faced repeated technical setbacks and delays, pushing certification back to at least 2030, years behind the original schedule. The looming 2020 Sao Awan Twang Bond by Tawan Sao Ving Koi 2055 Vo export ban on key Western components has exposed just how fragile China's aviation ambitions remain, threatening to ground the C919 before it can truly take off. In a bid to close the technology gap and keep the C919 project alive, China is now turning to Russia, a country with decades of experience in jet engine development and a willingness to collaborate outside Western influence. This emerging partnership could reshape the future of the C919, as Chinese and Russian engineers work together to develop new solutions and bypass Western restrictions. The global race to break Western dominance in aviation is intensifying, and the outcome will determine not just the fate of the C919, but the future balance of power in the skies. Sanctioned and isolated, Russia's aerospace industry has been forced into radical self-reliance. Projects like the MC-21 and the Russified Superjet 100 now run on homegrown engines, proving Russia's ability to build a sanction-proof aviation sector. Russia's United Engine Corporation has developed the PD-14, a modern jet engine free from Western input. This hard-won expertise is exactly what China needs to overcome its final hurdles in engine development. For Russia, partnering with China means funding, scale, and a chance to strike back at the West. Together, they could form a new aerospace axis, one that challenges the old order. The balance of power in the skies is shifting. For the EU, a Russo-Chinese alliance is an existential threat. If Russian know-how helps China mass-produce a domestically powered C919, Airbus could lose its grip on the world's fastest-growing market. The impact would ripple across Europe's supply chains, threatening thousands of jobs. Beyond China, a cheaper independent C919 could appeal to airlines across Asia, Africa, and South America, splitting the global market. The nightmare. This partnership expands to wide-body jets, challenging Airbus's most profitable lines. Europe fears not just lost sales, but a long-term decline in influence and innovation. The duopoly that defined aviation may be ending. The numbers reveal the scale of the threat. Developing a new jet engine costs up to $3 billion, an immense barrier that's protected Western firms for decades. A Russo-Chinese partnership could leapfrog this, combining Russian expertise with Chinese capital and demand. China's C919 program, alone, represents over $1 billion a year in engine sales, money that could soon flow east, not west. Losing China's market could cost Airbus and its suppliers hundreds of billions over 2 decades. For Russia, access to China's vast order book would fund future engine programs and secure its aerospace sector for years. The financial and strategic stakes are enormous. The West's dominance is no longer guaranteed. As 2025 ends, Europe faces a defining moment. The Russo-Chinese engine alliance is no longer a rumor, it's a looming reality. Brussels and Washington are scrambling to respond, weighing sanctions, incentives, and accelerated R&D. Airbus's future and Europe's industrial strength hang in the balance. The comfortable duopoly is fracturing, replaced by a new era of great power competition in the skies. Europe must adapt or risk decline. The next moves will decide whether Airbus remains a global leader, or is eclipsed by a new power rising in the east. The battle for the skies has only just begun.